Hi guys, welcome to I'm Judging. In this video, we will be reviewing Housewives of Potomac, episode 10, which I like to call the cleanup after the storm. There wasn't as much drama in this particular video. Nonetheless, this video I feel like will point out how we're being primed for the episodes to come. Remember, with I'm Judging, we're going to do this in a fun but cute way. Let's get into it. Okay, so in episode 10, they are throwing out, I feel like, a million ideas at us in hopes to see what sticks. I'm not sure. It builds anticipation for sure. You see Karen in the sauna with her wig, which I don't think is realistic, but hey girl, I know the camera's there and you got to do the look. We see Mia and her family at a rec center, and then we see Robin and Giselle doing their podcast for Reasonably Shady. Giselle talks about how her girls are having a birthday party coming up, and they also start discussing how they're going to have a live show coming up, which fast forward, Karen talks to her assistant Matt about having a live show for Karen. And I don't think Karen has a live show, but I guess Karen just wants a live show as a personality. Yeah, okay. I don't think it's a bad thing. Let's just get into it with that. Karen seems to be copying her co-hosts, because I don't really like to call them friends, but okay. And, you know, with Wendy with the candles, and then now with the live show. But I think it's safe because Karen has her own demographic. Like, those who are fans of Robin and Giselle may not be as big of fans of Karen. And those who are fans of Wendy may not be as big of fans as Karen. So I feel like they all have their own niche. So I feel like it's safe, but it does feel a little funny because it seems like she always just so happens to do the same thing and then doesn't discuss it with them. But we all know that there's more than one space for people at the top. You know, we can all win. So I'm for it. Then we see Robin discuss quickly with Giselle saying, you know, I was hoping on the trip I would get a quiet moment so I can go over this prenup. And which Giselle goes into about, you know, the Wendy love fest for Robin at the club. And so Robin talks about that and then Candiace's meltdown. But Giselle agrees, which is, you know, Candiace, you got to own up to it. You talked about everybody on Instagram. So, you know, girl, get out of the aisle. Which we lead into Candiace and Chris in the backyard. Apparently, Candiace just got her MBA. Yay. She has 2 degrees. She's counting her degrees like Wendy. And is talking about having a backyard party for her graduation. Then Candiace hints to Chris that she may be pregnant. She just says she missed her period. So, like I said, there was a lot of ideas in the first part. And I think, you know, that's good, I guess, for piquing our interest because it seems like they have a lot going on. We'll see. Okay, I think I'll be remiss to say, or not to say, that Karen's creative dress was really cute when she met with Matt. I also want to tap into this. It seems like every time the rumor comes up about Karen being with another man out of town, Matt mysteriously shows up. Her assistant. I can't prove it. I don't have the catalog that Bravo has as far as pulling up past episodes, and I'm not going back all the way through them. But correct me if I'm wrong. Every time they accuse her of cheating on Ray, it's as if, to me, it's not strategically to place it in our minds that it's Karen's assistant that people are seeing her with, you know, when it comes to another man. You know, okay, I'm just saying, you know, I have trust issues. Her creative dress was really cute. Also, I love Robin's black and white silk blouse when she met with Candiace at the restaurant. I thought it was beautiful that they shared a tearful moment. Apparently, Robin's hairstylist siblings passed away in a car accident, and Robin is very close with her hairstylist, and so she felt that pain that her friend felt. In that moment, Candiace hugs, and it's good to see the two together in harmony. Candiace, you know, Robin's like, you know, I look at you like a little sister. And Candiace's like, yeah, I do look at you like a sister, and you're the only one who I feel that way about in this group, which is weird to me because I would have thought she was closer, I don't know, to Wendy, maybe Karen. I could be wrong, but yeah, I guess Robin would be her closest one. Y'all let me know what you think about that. Do you really think Robin was her closest friend out of everybody? They hug and it seems like everything's all good, and Robin just ends it with like, look, next time you want to shade the girls, be a little more specific. Don't say everybody's fake. Candiace agrees. Also, Wendy has a conversation with her husband that she's going to start prioritizing her health a little better. She has a kidney stone and she's going to work on her life balance, which I feel like they're throwing out a lot of ideas, they as in whoever produces this show, so that we can relate to the girls, because can't we all relate to work-life balance or just life balance in general? We see Mia at her new location opening in DC. Karen and Jacqueline attends, and that's nice and family oriented, and it seems like a wholesome event. Karen says that, despite whatever she's going through with her friends, she doesn't really believe in throwing her friendships away. She's going to show up for her friends. You notice that she asks Mia about her mom and where's your mom? And apparently it triggered something in Mia, and she's like, okay, don't worry about it. Sorry. I wasn't trying to, upset you or anything. And so we don't know what that is. There's a question mark left there. Then we get over to Ashley, and she's going to Uncle Lump's house, who's my favorite uncle at this point. For me, I anticipate the dose of reality that he provides Ashley. It seems like Ashley tends to live in her own fictional world about what's happening with her and her marriage, but Uncle Lump brings it on down to earth for her. She starts by discussing the argument that she had with Michael and how it was upsetting to her because she really wasn't trying to fight or argue, but her oldest son jumps in between the two of them and just yells stop whenever they argue. Ashley breaks down, and I think she finally tells us why she's afraid to leave Michael. She says she's afraid of being alone, which I truly believe that is the real reason. I think, a lot of us have been speculating this is money and that, she likes the lifestyle, which I'm sure she does. Her uncle and aunt both reassure her, and kudos to Auntie, because Auntie stepped up where I expected Uncle Lump to step up and come in. But Auntie this time loved on her with affirmations and just let her know that, they are providing support. Because what is really difficult when you are divorcing someone is, what does it look like now? Because I think a lot of people, for the most part, when they get married, they don't expect to get divorced. So now that you're standing in the shoes of a possible divorcee, it's like, what is life going to look like without this person? And even when you're with a spouse who really amounts to nothing, you feel this pseudo support, right? Especially as a woman, I would say, having a man in the house, it makes you feel like you have support, but sometimes you really don't. And so that's what her Uncle Lump was letting her know, that, you have to realize that you actually have people around you who are here for you. And so I appreciate that moment of vulnerability with Ashley. I don't think we get a lot of those. She often, comes in smiling or, brushes people off or will be condescending or whatever. We always get these modes of defenses from her, but to see her kind of crack her shell and let us in a little bit, really appreciate it. So we're almost halfway through, or a little over halfway through this episode, and no action has really taken place. We're seeing everybody living their best lives. And I think after the last two episodes filled with drama, it is kind of nice to take a break. However, bit of a snooze fest. Nothing really solid has happened. We're having small bits of feel-good moments. I guess it's good. Candiace picks her mom up from the airport. They do this relationship review, and Candiace is saying, where they were and where they are now, how she had to let go of what she thought her relationship with her mother should be and just accept it for what it is, not take her insults as personal, which, so to me, she's still in her relationship with her mom is toxic. However, she's making it as functional as possible to keep her mother in her life. I know some people don't agree with that, and they want to they want you to cut off any family member, whether it's your mother or your dad or whoever. But for some, you value family. I'm one of those people. You value family and you just keep them around and you try to make the best of it. Just navigate through. And then we go into Giselle's baby girls, Sweet 16, Adore, and I can't remember the other one's name. I'm so sorry. But they have their birthday party, and I think in another episode, Giselle announced that the girls did not want her present. And I was wondering how that was going to work. She shows how the girls have a room with friends, and it's decorated from top to bottom. It's really pretty, classy, elegant, very girly. She says that she has a room separate for her and her friends. We see Jamal arrive, Ashley, Charisse, Robin. Then eventually Jamal and Giselle go into the other room to make a speech for the girls. They talk about how, they've been good girls and how they've never had any real trouble with them. And Giselle reflects on how if she was 16, she would want to be like them because of their confidence that they exude and how they actually want everybody to win. They're not mean girls, which is beautiful to hear. And it's also pleasant to have your parents love you out loud. So 2 Degrees, aka Candiace, is having her backyard party. Her mom, before it starts, they see a snake and her mom is being shady and says, "I thought you weren't inviting Giselle here." And the shady cameraman of Bravo called Giselle a snake as well. I don't know how I felt about that, but Candiace laughed, her mom laughed, and it is what it is. Karen and Ray attend. Robin shows up. Charisse shows up with her daughter, and then Wendy and her husband show up. It seems like everybody's having a good, wholesome time in the backyard. It seems like everybody's enjoying the food. You see Chris slightly stressed because, of course, he's the caterer, or he's at least overseeing the catering. Candiace announces that she had a negative pregnancy test and how she was sad about it, but of course, you got to keep things in perspective. She already had a plan to do more in vitro, but of course, I would think everybody would prefer the cheaper route of just naturally getting pregnant and not having to go through shooting yourself with hormones. But if that's what she's got to do, then that's what she's got to do. And she says she's just going to push forward. Karen is sitting by Ray, and she asks Robin, where do you have the wedding dress? What's going on with you in the wedding with Juan? And Robin says, "We're still planning." Aaron is like, "Oh my goodness, you're still planning?" And she's like, "Yeah. And actually, we're having a small ceremony of 4. It's just going to be the 4 of us." And she says, "So we're not invited," is what Karen responds. And she's like, "No." So then, of course, in Karen's confessional, she's saying, pretty much "Okay, if y'all want to keep shacking up or whatever, just say that you made it our business." And I'm like, it's never really any of your business. And I honestly, call me crazy, I don't see it as big of a deal with her getting married to Juan, because this wouldn't be her first marriage to him. They've already been married before. And yes, I know the piece of paper means absolutely everything to some people. However, she's doing what works best for her and her family. And I just don't understand the pressure everybody seems to feel about it. I could see if it was some brand new guy, maybe, that nobody knew, and he's been stringing her along and all that type of stuff, but it just doesn't seem as urgent. So, however Robin plans to do it and when she plans to do it they're still together, so that's all that matters, I guess. Wendy and Robin are left alone to talk, and Wendy wants to let Robin know that the last time we spoke, we were both very drunk, but what I said I really meant. They say a drunk mind is a sober heart, or a drunk's mouth is a sober heart. Y'all let me know how that saying really goes in the comments. But pretty much, when you're drunk, you're speaking the truth. You're speaking from your heart. And Robin asked a fair question to Wendy, and she says, I get that, but over the last year, I have been met with a lot of contention from you in front of others. So I don't understand why it was that when we were alone, you couldn't apologize publicly to me. So, I'm torn. She said, I'm honestly torn between the two as to what's really real. I felt it was valid. She responds to Robin's question by saying, it was the liquid courage that allowed me to open up to you. And she said she values the relationship that they had, and she wanted to salvage the relationship and didn't feel like whatever they were going through was enough to ruin it. So that's why she approached Robin. And I have a question. I don't remember Robin and Wendy being that close, and maybe I need to do a review, guys. But apparently Robin and Wendy felt like they had a close relationship, so I'm not mad at that. Wendy then leaves, and they catch her saying about how hot it is, but in reality, Wendy, you're wearing double sweaters. I can see a knit tank top, but you're wearing a tank top and it's hot and you have a hat on and a wig. So yes, you're going to be hot. Candiace and Karen speak in the kitchen, and Candiace admits to Karen, I'm sorry, I just want to apologize. It was brought to my attention that I actually did say that about you and Ray. And I do love you and Ray, and both you and Ray are out in these streets together, just trying to smooth things over. And she says, you know what? It was me just being messy. I was being messy and I was being drunk. Put a pin right there. I felt like in that moment, because she's blaming it on her being drunk, and she was not sloppy drunk, let the record show, she's not taking full accountability for what she said, just being gossipy, because she had no reason to bring up Karen and Ray. But she did. She chose to. So she apologizes to Karen, and Karen says she accepts her apology. She says in her confessional that it's not enough to end her friendship with Candiace, but she will be watching her, which I completely agree. I say everybody watch Candiace, because if you see how Candiace's mom moves, Candiace is the snake in the backyard. I said it. Karen then insinuates that because Ashley was drinking with Candiace when Candiace said this information, that Ashley was also being shady. I felt that was a low blow on Ashley for no reason. Yeah, she may have, but you might want to ask Ashley, hey, did you say anything to contribute to conversation about me stepping out on Ray or me being in the streets with Ray? Candiace states that the group is disjointed and how she just doesn't like the group being disjointed. I felt that was fake, because I just do. I don't believe her. And I'm working on it, guys, as far as liking Candiace, but she has done so many things. She's so extra. She cuts people down, and then she gets upset when people get back at her. But when it's time for her to take accountability, that's the part for me. She doesn't take accountability. So when someone doesn't take full accountability, I'm still looking at you from the corner of my eye, because I don't trust you. We see Ray take Chris to the side and just man to man says, hey, I noticed that Giselle's not here, and I understand that you and Giselle have an issue, but I didn't know it was between Candiace and Giselle, and I don't know why Ray doesn't see that if you have a problem with my husband, you got a problem with me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like, I can be best friends with you while you're not cool with my husband, or you're saying things that aren't. I don't know what Ray was thinking. You let me know. Do you agree with Ray in regard to apologizing? Because Giselle says she felt uncomfortable, you should apologize. I was raised to apologize for things that I didn't do just to keep the peace. But I wholeheartedly understand where Chris is coming from, especially on camera, because that automatically people assume guilt with you. And this is a different circumstance. I say on camera because these people have their careers on the line based off of how they move on this reality show. As much as it seems like, lighthearted and fun, he has a brand, and he cannot be associated with being the creepy guy who pulls women into the room for private conversations. He can't. So I don't know if that was the wisest advice. And so we see Chris is mad and frustrated because, it's so many people and he can't just vent in his own house. So much so that he's on the porch smoking a cigar, and somebody even says, hey man, you want to jack somebody up? And he's like, yeah, I kind of do. In the meantime, Candiace is giving her speech about how her mother has inspired her to get her second degree. She wants everybody to celebrate themselves and, lift others up. So yeah, that was the wrap up, guys. It was a pretty lighthearted episode, a lot of tears, but a lot of insight. I thought it was a pretty good episode. I wouldn't say this was my top 10 as far as I just couldn't stop watching, but it was constant ideas flowing out. So we don't know where people are going between prenups and pregnancies and divorces and all kinds of stuff. So it's giving us a little bit to look forward to. Let me know what you think.